Hello and welcome to another video. In this video we're going to be working on reverse prefix of a word. And in this one you have a word and a character, and you want to reverse the segment of the word that starts at 0 and ends at the first occurrence of the character. So like in this first example you would just reverse this ABCD, which is DCABA, and then you leave the rest the same. Second example, you reach the Z, so you reverse this XYXZ like this. And if the character doesn't exist, you just return the word. So the main thing to take away, like from problems with strings, is in most languages, I think except for in C++, strings are immutable. So because strings are immutable, if you just do something like you have a string S and you keep adding a character, like let's say you do something like this in a loop, it's going to rebuild the string every time. So if you have like A and then you add A, it's going to rebuild the whole thing. It won't just like add a character. So for example, if I have like this whole thing and then I do this, it's going to rebuild this whole thing. So generally the way you want to handle building strings is one of two ways. Either an array, so you have a character array. So if I have like A's, let's say, now in Java arrays are immutable as well, so you have to make sure like figuring out, or the array size is immutable, so you have to figure that out, like how you want to handle that. You can use like a list, or you can just give it like a big size or whatever. But essentially if I have something like this, and now I add a character here, this is an O of 1 operation. But having that whole string and adding a character is O of n. So if I have a string of like 1,000,000 characters, like if I do this 1,000,000 times, that's n squared. It'll be like 1,000,000 times 1,000,000. Where if I have it this way, this is O of n. So you either want to have this character array, or you just want to use pointers. So you don't actually manipulate the string, you just make pointers to like what part of the string you need. Like you just store some kind of index, and then you do a substring or something one time. And those are the main two ways. So that's the main thing to take from these kinds of problems. So in this case, what would be like bad is you'd be like, okay, well I have string like result, and I'll just like add an A, and then I'll add a B, and then I'll add a C, and so on and so on. And you'll keep doing this because this string, it's 250 here, but if it was like 1,000,000, that would be unsquared. So instead you can either use a character array or something else. And so what we need to do is we need to reverse the first section. So what we can actually do is we can just turn this string into a character array. In Java, there's a method that does this. So if we have ABCD, E, or it doesn't even matter the string. Let's just take an array, and let's just have some characters. So we have like A, B, C, D, E, F, and then we'll have like this string. And we want to reverse it on the character, let's say F. So we're just going to be like, we're going to turn this into a character array. You can obviously just like do that. You can just make an array and just loop through the string and take the characters. Then what we're going to do is we're going to find the index of where the first character occurs. So if we're looking for F, we'll find this index and we'll store this. So we'll store this 5. Then it's basically, all we have to do is just reverse this section of our character array. So this is basically like given an array, or given a string, reverse a string. So given this, how do you reverse that? And so the way to do this without using any kind of built-in stuff is using 2 pointers. So you have a pointer where your character is that you're looking for, and the start. And then you just swap the characters. So like this A and F will swap, so it'll be like FA. Then you move them in. Then you swap again. Then you move them in, and you swap again. And you basically do that. That'll reverse your thing that you care about. And then if we went through this whole string and never found the character, like we're going to store this number. And if we didn't find it, then we just take our character array. And I mean, we're going to do this anyway. So we have our character array. We'll just make a string out of it. So there's a function there. There's a function there in most languages that's like array to string or whatever. And that's kind of the format you want to use. You want to make an array, and you want to make sure you're only adding to an array. And you don't want to be like adding characters to a string because they're immutable in everything other than C++. So you're basically making a new one every time, which is pretty inefficient. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to take our string, turn it into a character array, find the first occurrence of the character, and then starting at 0 and the character, we'll just keep swapping every 2 characters, bring these in toward the middle until everything's swapped, then just turn this whole thing into a string and return it. So let's code that. So we can say character array result equals word, and so you can see there's this 2-character array. So that will take the string, turn into a character array. That's an O of n operation, depending on the length of the string. And then we can loop through our results. So we can say int I equals 0. I is less than string length or result length, and plus. And then here you can kind of handle it in 2 ways. You can look for this character match and write all your code in there. So this is an array. So instead what we can do is we can just get a location. So you could say int location, we'll set it equal to -1, and we'll say if result. So I think because this is a character, we can just index directly. So this can just be a result that I equals character. Then we can just put the location here and break out. So location equals I and break. I believe we don't need to do char at. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like we're good. So for Java, you need to do char at if you're a string, but if you're a character array, you just do normal indexing. So if we have the character we're looking for, we'll just mark it down and break. Then we could say if location. I guess technically, since we're checking here already, I guess we can just do the code in here. So we can just do our reverse code in here. I guess that's fine as well. Yeah, so let's just do our reverse logic in here. So we can say we basically just want to reverse from I to location. So we could say int left. Let's see. So we don't need this location. I guess we can get rid of it. So we can say int left equals 0. Int right equals this location, so I, and we just say like while left is less than right. We need like a temporary thing, so we can say character temp equals result left. Result left equals result right, and result right equals temp. And then we need to actually make the left go up 1 and the right go down 1. So, and then we just break out when we're done. And so no matter what, we're gonna have an array now. We're gonna have a character array, and it will either have a chunk of it reversed, or it will be completely not touched at all. Now we just return a string here, so we can just say return new string, and we can give it a character array. So you can see a string can take a character array, and we just pass a result. And that should do it. And there we go. So a bunch of ways to do this, but this is one of them. So turn your string into a character array, look for what part you need to reverse, and then just do like a reverse word on that section. Yeah. So pretty easy. So here we can say that our time is linear, because to make the character array is O of n, to loop through the string is O of n, and then to reverse the chunk of the string is O of n. So all of these is O of n. We didn't like keep building on the string. And space. So here, I guess technically we did make a character array, and then we made a string. So I guess it would be like O of n. You can't really make a string in Java without like using some sort of temporary memory. Like you have to use like a slice or something. So I don't think there's any way to do this in O of 1, because you can't move characters around in a string. So in order to move characters around, you have to make it a character array. If you use substrings, that's also like O of n, and so on and so on. So I don't think you can make this. You can make this in O of 1, but that's fine. So pretty easy one. And yeah, the main thing keep in mind, once again, if you're working with strings, either use an array and add to the array because that's O of 1, or use pointers and don't just add letters to the string. That's the main thing for hard problems that you're gonna have to keep in mind. This you can solve in like 15 different ways. So hopefully this is helpful. If it was, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.